She's Beyoncé's sister, but she never lived in her shadow. A Grammy winner, a performance artist, a style icon, and the first black woman to compose for the New York City Ballet. Solange Knowles is more than music. She's a movement. From soul to surreal, from mainstream pop to avant-garde galleries, she's turned her life into living art. In this video, we're diving into how Solange built a career on her own terms, broke every mold, and taught us all how to take up space without asking for permission. Early life, background, and education. Solange Knowles was born on June 24, 1986, in Houston, Texas, USA. She is the younger sister of global superstar Beyoncé Knowles Carter. Solange was raised in a close-knit, creative household that nurtured her talents from a young age. Family background. Mother, Tina Knowles, née Beyoncé, a fashion designer and businesswoman of Creole descent. Father, Matthew Knowles, a former Xerox sales manager and music executive, of African American descent. Her parents played a major role in managing and developing the early careers of both Solange and Beyoncé. Growing up, Solange was exposed to music, fashion, and business, and she developed an early interest in performance. Early exposure to music. Solange began writing songs by the age of 9 and had already started dancing professionally by the age of 7. At 15, she temporarily joined Destiny's Child as a backup dancer when a member was injured. Despite the heavy presence of music in her life, Solange sought to create a unique identity, often diverging from the pop, R&B style associated with her sister. Education. Solange was homeschooled during parts of her adolescence to accommodate her performing and recording schedule. While details about her formal college education are limited, Solange is largely considered self-educated in the arts, having developed a strong intellectual and artistic voice through life experience, travel, and personal exploration. Cultural influences. As a Houston native, Solange was deeply influenced by Southern black culture, Houston's chopped and screwed music scene, and Afrocentric aesthetics. Her upbringing in a family that valued entrepreneurship and creativity gave her the foundation to pursue music, acting, fashion, and later, visual art and performance. Music career. Early work and debut. Solange's recording career began in her early teens. She contributed to the Proud Family theme, 2001, and performed with Destiny's Child as a backup dancer when Kelly Rowland was injured. In 2002, she released her debut studio album Solo Star. It was executive produced by her father and included collaborations with big-name producers Timbaland, The Neptunes, etc. Commercially, it had modest success. It peaked at about number 49 on the US Billboard 200. Second album and shift in sound. Her second studio album Soul Angel and the Hadley Street Dreams came out in 2008. Influenced heavily by 1960s-1970s soul and Motown sounds. Collaborators included Mark Ronson, CeeLo Green, etc. This album marked a departure from the more conventional R&B pop sound of her first album. Though Soul Angel was praised for its stylistic ambition, it didn't become a massive commercial hit. It began to establish her as someone willing to experiment and not just follow mainstream R&B pop paths. EP and increased artistic control. In 2012 she released the True EP, 7 tracks. This was an important turning point. More creative control and collaborating with independent, alternative producers, Dev Hynes, etc. The EP was seen as more stylized, experimental. Breakthrough with a seat at the table. In 2013, Solange founded her own label, Saint Records, giving her more autonomy. Her third studio album A Seat at the Table released in 2016. This was her most critically acclaimed work up to that point. Themes included identity, empowerment, race, grief, family, personal healing, and social issues. Musically, the album blends neo-soul, funk, R&B with atmospheric production. The album debuted at number 1 on the US Billboard 200, her first chart-topping album. The song, Cranes in the Sky, from that album won her first Grammy Award for Best R&B Performance. When I Get Home and more artistic exploration. Her fourth studio album When I Get Home came out in 2019. This album delved even more into experimental sounds. Ambient, funk, jazz, psychedelic soul, and heavy influences from Houston, her hometown, including its hip-hop subcultures like chopped and screwed style. Besides the music, the release was accompanied by visuals, a short film with the same name, and immersive art experiences. Other creative and business ventures. Acting. Solange has acted in a few films. For example, Johnson Family Vacation 2004 and Bring It On, All or Nothing 2006. Songwriting for others. She's written and co-written songs for Beyoncé, e.g. Upgrade You, Get Me Body, and for Kelly Rowland, among others. Fashion, branding, and creative direction. She's been involved in modeling, e.g. for her mother's family's clothing line House of Darian, has done brand work. In 2013, became art director, creative consultant for Puma, curating women's shoe collections. She's done campaigns for Rimmel London, Armani Jeans, been face of Calvin Klein, etc. Saint Heron. Founded in 2013, originally as a music and culture digital platform to highlight Black, brown, and alternative voices. Over time, Saint Heron has expanded into an agency, studio, gallery, etc. Performance art and visual work. She's done performance art pieces such as an ode to 2017, at the Guggenheim Museum, Metatron's Cube, 2018, at the Hammer Museum, Witness. 2019 Bridge S. In Past Pupils and Smiles at the Venice Biennale. These show her not just as a musician, but as a multidisciplinary artist working in visual, space, choreography. In 2022 she became the first African American woman to compose music for New York City Ballet, for their fall fashion gala Playtime. Themes, style, and artistic evolution. Over the years Solange has moved from straightforward R&B, pop beginnings toward more experimental, atmospheric, and socially conscious music. Her later work weaves in influences from jazz, funk, psychedelic soul, ambient music, and her personal background, especially her identity as a Black woman in America and her Houston roots. Visual and conceptual presentation is central. Her albums later on, especially A Seat at the Table and When I Get Home, are as much about mood, setting, and imagery as about songs alone. Awards, recognition, and impact. Her breakthrough with A Seat at the Table earned significant critical praise, strong chart performance. Grammy wins. Notably the Best R&B Performance for Cranes in the Sky. She has been recognized beyond music for her artistry, influence, fashion sensibility, her role promoting Black culture and artists. Solange Knowles. Marriage and Children. Marriage. 1. Daniel Smith 2004-2007. Solange married her high school sweetheart Daniel Smith in February 2004, when she was just 17 years old and he was 19. Shortly after, the couple moved to Moscow, Idaho, where Daniel attended college. They eventually divorced in 2007, citing young age and growing apart as reasons. Despite the split, Solange has described their relationship as a formative experience, and the two reportedly co-parented amicably. 2. Alan Ferguson 2014-2019. Solange married Alan Ferguson, a music video director, on November 16, 2014, in a high-profile wedding in New Orleans. The wedding was widely covered in the media and praised for its artistic and stylish aesthetic, especially the all-white attire worn by Solange and her guests. However, in late 2019, Solange announced that they had separated earlier that year. In a candid Instagram post, she wrote that the past 2 years had brought significant shifts, physically and spiritually, and she made the decision to part ways. Children. Solange has one son, Daniel Jules J. Smith Jr., born October 18, 2004. Father, Daniel Smith, her first husband. Often referred to as Jules, he has occasionally appeared in public events with Solange and has grown up largely out of the spotlight. As of 2025, he is 21 years old. Current relationship status. As of now, October 2025, Solange has not publicly confirmed any new marriage or long-term partner after her split from Alan Ferguson. She continues to focus on her music, art, and creative projects. Assets and lifestyle. Real estate. Solange has owned a Hollywood loft in Los Angeles which she bought when she was about 19. It's an Art Deco style loft, approximately 1,360 square feet, with a bonus room, valuation, sale listing around $799,000 at one point. She also owned a large church building in New Orleans used for creative neighborhood projects or as part of her Saint Heron projects. That property was listed around $950,000. More recently, as of 2023, she put both the LA loft and the New Orleans church property up for sale. Personal style, aesthetic, and home life. She tends toward eclectic, artistic decor, vintage furniture, art pieces particularly by Black artists, custom details. Her Los Angeles loft has black art, custom velvet sofas, etc. She values space, organization, and minimalism in some seasons interviews. E.g. in Harper's Bazaar, she said having space for her clothes and clearing clutter made a big difference. She splits time between locations, New Orleans, sometimes LA, New York, Brooklyn at times, depending on work, life, family, spending, tastes, values. She seems to prioritize artistic expression, comfort, originality, and cultural identity over purely luxury, though she does own valuable property, collect art, etc. She pays attention to the quality of items, design pieces, vintage finds, bespoke or one-of-a-kind furniture or decor. In interviews, she mentions enjoying simple pleasures, e.g. food, beignets in New Orleans, being in her home community, art, fashion, etc. She also speaks often about family and grounding in culture.